This is Anarchast.
Hey freethinkers, Hey freethinkers, welcome to another edition of Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. I'm again in Santiago de Chile, and I have Will McAllister here, and he's come down from the US all over the south, and we'll ask him all about his travels and that sort of a thing. But first question always is, how did you become an anarchist?
I think, like just about, or at least a lot of people, Ron Paul is the guy who opened the door. And, I guess if you use like a metaphor, I would say that, like in an airplane, whenever there's a crack in the window and you see the movie and everything sucks out, I think Ron Paul put the crack in the window, but that led to Adam Kokesh. But when I reached Stefan Molyneux, that was like that's whenever it all came out, and he really took me to the other side and really brought me to my senses.
That's great, and of course Adam Kokesh has been a guest on Anarchast, so is Stefan Molyneux, good friends. Adam, unfortunately, has been kidnapped and still in jail as far as I know, as of the time of this filming, and hopefully, actually I don't know when he's going to get out of there. It doesn't look good, and Stefan Molyneux's videos really are quite eye-opening. He's so logical and rational, and you talk about the ones like the story of your enslavement and things like that.
Man. That was such an eye-opener for me. I was at a different phase of it, and I would show other people, and it would I would get the most aggressive reactions for that. For me, it was just like, this is beautiful because it was the truth. But I would show other people, and they would know it's the truth, and they would attack it so viciously. But I love something like that.
Yeah, a lot of people react angrily when they find out that what they thought they believed, or everything they've done their whole life, hasn't been totally true, and what they've been told their whole life hasn't been totally true. And I was the same as you. When I found out about it, I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is what I've been looking for. I knew there had to be more than what we were being told on TV. But a lot of people get very angry. It's like a reaction. They don't, because for a lot of people, they've lived their whole life believing in the status system, and you're basically telling them everything you believe is wrong, and therefore a lot of things you've done in your life could probably have been not good things, or it's been totally incorrect, and they get very defensive.
Yeah, and I read somewhere that people bond with their beliefs, or they bond with their decisions. So when you attack their decisions, even though you don't think it's personal, it's so embedded in them that they feel it as an attack on themselves. If you attack that every decision they've ever made has been wrong, and you're saying that they're basically stupid. I didn't take it that way. I took it as like, this is great because everything that I've been doing is wrong, and now it's a great opportunity for me to figure out how to do it right.
Yeah, I'm a truth seeker, so if I ever find something better than anarchy that makes more sense, I'll switch to it.
I'm exactly the same way. I heard Joe Rogan say recently, he said that if something that he stumbles upon changes his mind, he will change everything he ever believed instantly. And I was like, wow, I feel the exact same way. I go out seeking that, and I look for the opportunity to change everything that I've ever believed.
Yeah, me too. It's exciting. I find it exciting. When I first found out about anarchy and Austrian economics, first of all, I was like, oh, this explains so many things that I could never figure out. So I was excited. And it opens up this whole new world, and you can look at the world differently, but also creates problems too. You can't really watch a lot of those TV shows or movies anymore. I don't know how you feel about that one.
I can't watch anything anymore.
Yeah, it kind of ruins your movie life, unless you want to watch V for Vendetta over and over again.
Right, or, yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
I've never watched that.
Oh, you should.
But, like even now, like so many people say, oh, you got to go see this movie, and I just can't sit through it. I can't suspend the disbelief for long enough. I'm just the whole time.
And it's just, there's always the good guy cop, and call the president. Yes, so we'll solve this right away.
Always the hero. It's always.
Or even if they have, like, I guess there's this new movie with Matt Damon, who I guess he's sort of like heroically fighting. I don't know, but even when they make I don't know if he was a cop in that one, I haven't seen it. Of course, I can't see most of these movies, but a lot of even if they have a bad cop, it's sort of like, it's still pro-government sort of a message in the end.
Well, at the end, it's like the government comes in and punishes the bad cop, and they still walk away in the sunset.
Yeah, my poor wife, she loves going to the movies.
Yeah.
She just goes with the kids or by herself or with her friends. I'm like, there's every now and then one comes out that I hear about that's okay. And I guess a lot of those fantasy sort of movies are generally okay. And that's why Lord of the Rings is great. I don't know if you've read the book or...
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you gotta rent it or get it off the internet. It's basically the whole story is about the Ring of Power, which is a metaphor, allegory for the government. And anyone who touches it corrupts them. And it all starts out with these hobbits who are in a totally anarchic little community, and they're all happy. There's no police officers. There's a mayor, but he doesn't do anything. And then the beast comes in, the government, and destroys everything. And
it's metaphoric.
Oh, totally. And actually, J.R.R. Tolkien said that his political beliefs lean more and more towards anarchy every day, is one of his quotes. And I don't know if he ever got all the way to anarchy, but that's where he was at. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, and it's not just the movies. For me, it's like the minute that you turn on the TV, it is just like this shrieking feeling that I just cannot watch TV or the radio these days. It has to be Pandora. It has to be, I select what I watch. I just can't watch it. I feel like such a grumpy old man.
Yeah, so that's a warning. If you're not an anarchist, you become an anarchist, it will change your viewing habits quite dramatically. But thankfully, there's the internet, and you can just watch Stefan Molyneux videos all day long.
I have no regrets. I don't have as many options. I just feel that the options that I choose to watch are better. It's like I have this insane sort of fiendish drive for new information constantly, every single day. It's just never enough.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of good movies I hear about coming out. There's a lot of, and for all you people out there, anarchists, make your own movie. You can do it on a camcorder nowadays. There's been many multi-million-dollar movies done on a camcorder. Make it more of a freedom message, if you can, or just stay away from politics altogether. But preferably, put out some really good, interesting movies that are based on the philosophies that we're talking about here. And there's never been an opportunity better than this to do it.
Have you seen the previews for Grey State or any of that stuff?
I heard about it. I haven't seen it.
I wonder if that's going to come out with it. But what I always think about with Stefan Molyneux was supposed to do this documentary, and I wrote in the past what's going on there. But I always think, what if somebody made an example of a free society of exactly how it would look, and then created a narrative inside of that story? Because I would like to visualize what it would be like to have that outside of just hearing it through podcasts. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, totally. I've had my own ideas about how to write a book or a movie script, and it'd be based in a totally free, but it'd be kind of boring because there'd be no violence. There'd be no, I guess we could find a way to make someone, maybe he came from the statist past or something.
Yeah, we could turn something dramatic about it. It's like you're in the store and there's so many options.
But I had some ideas, like in the world that I would create, you'd just walk up to the plane like it was a bus and just hop on, and there would be no TSA, nothing. You'd hop on, you'd have your pistol or whatever on you, and that sort of a thing, and create that kind of world. It'd be pretty cool. Yeah, so there's an idea. You can steal my idea. Feel free. I'm busy enough as it is. I'm actually writing a book, which is a non-fiction book, because I actually find the real world much more interesting than most fiction nowadays. It actually feels like fiction, the real world nowadays.
I actually had a friend who just wrote me today, and he spoke to me a few times on Facebook, but he said that he awoke to sheriffs knocking on his door back home in Florida. And I was like, really, why? He said that somebody had called the cops on him, or somebody had seen him run a stop sign, and they called the cops and gave the tag number. So the cops showed up to his door and wrote him a ticket there on the spot. And I told him, I said, man, this seems so much more like some sort of bizarre movie than reality nowadays.
Well, it's that whole, if you see something, say something, and I call it slave-on-slave action.
That's what he called it.
And it happens all the time. There was a man, he was watering along with one of those plastic, it looks like a pistol, I guess, but it's obviously a watering device. And a neighbor called him. They said, it looks like he has a gun. Cops came, 2 shotgun blasts. Killed him. Yeah, this happens all the time. They don't even... it's funny kind of watching older movies where they have the older police and they're like, freeze, put the gun down.
Right.
Nowadays, there's no talking. It's just, is that a gun he has? Wow! And they don't even just do one shot. They usually empty their entire clip, and they're actually trained that way now. Nice. They say because officer safety is the priority. And so in Toronto just recently, they just shot this kid numerous times. They just emptied the clip into him. He's obviously dead. He wasn't doing. He had a little knife and he was on a subway train all by himself, and he was obviously distraught over something. And all these cops had him like, you know, from 10 feet away, and just unloaded the clip. And then they went up, and he's obviously dead, and they tased him. It's crazy.
Every day it's a new story like that. You know, like seeing, you know, the dogs that are getting shot and killed.
That actually makes me angrier than when people get killed. I don't know. That actually, I was thinking about that the other day. I should get angry just as much when people get killed as dogs. But something about when they just come in and shoot a little dog, it just makes me so angry.
Well, because it's always completely in the wrong of the police. They kick in the wrong door and then immediately kill the dog. You know, or they climbed through a window and realized, and the dog was barking because you're climbing through the window. So they kill 2 dogs. And then say, oh, we got the wrong house. But it's every day.
Countless times every day. I've been seeing more and more. It seems like, I almost feel like I'm taking crazy pills. It seems like all this stuff is really speeding up.
Right. I wonder the same thing. I say, is things escalating, or am I just getting better at finding information? Do I have better friends on Facebook who just get it out to me, or is things really escalating? But I think it's escalating.
Definitely the actions are escalating. I don't know about the amount of the things that happen is escalating, because of course with YouTube and Facebook things get out there so quick now. And of course if you're on Facebook like me, all my friends are anarchists and we all post all this kind of stuff all the time, so you kind of have to keep that in mind. But their actions though are completely something that would never have happened 20 or 30 years ago. There was a woman in Canada's getting just as bad now, and she got hold of her for speeding, like 10 miles an hour over the arbitrary speed limit, and the cop banged on her window and said, give me your license. And she said, I'll give you my license if you stop banging on my car. And he got really mad, pulled her out through the window, beat her brutally. There's photos of it on the internet, sexually molested her, and she was charged with not assault, but obstructing or maybe resisting or something like that, and he had nothing charged against him. Doesn't anyone... What's wrong with people today? I guess the fluoride and the public indoctrination camps. Some people just can't seem to see what's going on. Or if they do, they kind of defend it. Well, she must have done something. You know?
Always. And just like recently I was talking, you know, with the whole Trayvon Martin case where everybody's so up in arms about George Zimmerman, but every single bit of evidence points towards corroborating his story. But then you take that exact scenario and put a piece of shiny metal or a magic suit on the person, and automatically that kid becomes, oh, he's a thug. He was probably doing it. The whole story switches around. So I just found it amazing that, you know, the costume that they wear really changes the whole view on everything.
Yeah, and it's all sad. It's all collectivized policing. It's basically Soviet-style central planning of policing. If there was a freer market, we would have different police. We would hire different security. And you never hear about security guard you know, attacking people.
Right.
Like, they just get fired. That's right.
Yeah.
And they don't also have that sense of, like, I'm, you know, here to... I don't even know what cops think. I really don't know what this is.
Well, the sense that everybody else is not human, it seems like these days. It seems like, you know, look at the targets that they have now that they're issuing, the targets of children, you know, have you seen
old women in wheelchairs.
Pregnant women. And it's just like everything is a threat to you now, and anybody who has a gun wants to kill you. It's like it's just programmed into it. I was also reading this other article that said that police forces are allowed to discriminate based on the level of IQ, so they can fire police officers if their IQ is too high.
Yeah, their excuse is that they say the police officer will get bored if he's too smart, but that's... Let him get bored. It'd be good if he was bored.
Or a high turnover rate or something like that.
But they're obviously just trying to hire people who don't think very much, and a lot of them come back from horrible wars, you know, very damaged people, usually on all kinds of pharmaceuticals, not to mention steroids. Not that there's anything wrong with steroids, but, you know, all these things add up to this monsters walking around.
Right, and if it creates aggressive action, that's the wrong position that we want to be. Now you get supercharged and aggressive.
You would think so, but yeah. So you're out of the U.S. now. You've been in Chile for about a week. How are you feeling here? How does it feel different than the U.S.?
Well, you know, like me and my wife were talking about on the way over here, we never see cops here, and it's amazing because without security, people aren't blowing things up and killing each other, and which, you know, from the programming in America, I thought without all the cops, you know, everybody would be killing each other, you know, but it's not the case, and it's just a more laid-back environment, and, you know, I don't know if the statistic is right, but it seems to me that there are more women than men here, so everybody's just kind of chill.
Yeah, and also the cops aren't really allowed to do anything. They kind of, there's this funny thing they have with them here. They're not really allowed to, even pull you over is sort of not allowed. They have all these rules for the cops, which is great. And, but my camera's flashing, and I just bought it, so we might be running out of time. I hate to cut this short. Yeah, it is flashing, so we better end it. But thanks for being on Anarchast. So, Will McAllister down here in Chile, and that's been another edition of Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. Peace, love, and anarchy.